There have been tons of controversies surrounding Tupac Shakur's death, but this one takes the cake because it will absolutely blow your mind. It seems like there is a new suspect in the Shakur M case. And no, it's not Diddy. Jamie Foxx has apparently decided to push Quincy Jones under the bus for planning and executing Tupac's death.
And you're blowing it, and I need to help you with it. And I said, well, I'm sorry, what I need to do. So she took me to Quincy Jones's house.
And he had all the right reasons to pull this off, according to Jamie. Jamie, in his element, is dishing the dirt, and he's talking about Quincy's supposed lust for Tupac. But that's not all. Foxx, no stranger to Hollywood's hush-hush affairs, dives into the mess himself. Rumors of Quincy's advances for purportedly sexual purposes entangle Jamie too. Like, really, Quincy? You're allegedly orchestrating Tupac's exit and you've got time for this too? Well, yes, apparently. But what did this blockbuster record producer of his time have to gain from this hit? A huge incentive. In fact, more than one. For one, Tupac seemed to become a huge threat as days went by. And one thing the lead artists from the music industry can't afford is a replacement. Simply put, Quincy did not like the threat Tupac's constant presence posed on his career, so he might have used his influence to get Tupac out of the way. This was hinted upon by LAPD detective Greg Kading, the investigator of Biggie Smalls and Tupac's deaths. Apparently, he stumbled upon a revelation that Quincy might have played a clandestine role in orchestrating Tupac's the purported motive, as outlined by Kading, suggested that Quincy Jones sought to exert control over rising stars in the industry by forcing them into compromising situations. Contrary to popular belief, the narrative proposes that Jones, with his intricate network and industry influence, could have manipulated the strings behind the scenes. The hit was not merely a feud between East and West Coast hip-hop, but a calculated move by Jones to maintain dominion over the industry's narrative. But there was a far bigger picture than that, it seems. A legend like Quincy wouldn't go that far. But turns out, apparently, Quincy and Tupac were not on good terms with each other. Napoleon, Tupac's close buddy, revealed that in an interview.
So Pac had a lot of, at the end, he had a lot of respect for Quincy Jones. You know what I mean? The way, Pac did something in the newspaper against Quincy Jones.
Notice how he says "in the end," which makes it pretty evident how both of them had a rocky start. How long did that go on for? God knows. All this while Tupac was dating Quincy's daughter, Kadada Jones. They were engaged, about to be married, in fact.
Pac was about to marry his daughter.
Now, let's shine the spotlight on Kadada Jones, the lady in the center of this glamorous storm. Reggie Wright, a man who found himself in her company, spilled some piping hot tea. First off, Kadada allegedly claimed to be pregnant after Tupac's death. But wait, there's more. She covered up a tattoo dedicated to Tupac. Tattoos are like love letters on your skin, and covering one up? Well, that's a dramatic twist. Fast forward to the notorious Vibe Party. Kadada, who supposedly locked herself away for 9 months post Tupac's death, was spotted there.
For 8 or 9 months, I tell you, I could not get a word out. I couldn't leave my house. And then I harbored a lot of anger towards my dad because he wasn't there.
The contradictions in her actions and that West Side sign throwing, not missed by Tupac's fans. Some people even linked Kadada to Biggie's death. Like this person who commented, Quincy Jones's daughter, Kadada Jones, dated Puffy. Kadada dated Tupac. She was in Vegas with Tupac the day he was shot September 7th, 1996, died September 13th. Kadada also hosted the Vibe Party in Beverly Hills at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles, California, the night Biggie was shot March 9th, 1997. There are no coincidences. No one knows the kind of relationship they had, but Quincy once admitted that the couple was having problems. According to One TV, speaking with the New York Times Magazine, Quincy Jones reflected on his daughter's relationship with the late Tupac Shakur, recalling a time when the two weren't on the best of terms, and what ultimately put the two in a better space. One thing is for sure, Quincy wasn't in favor of his daughter being in a relationship with Tupac either. I wasn't happy at first, he once admitted. And being the protective father, Quincy's instinct might have kicked in. But even this doesn't justify the intent to M, which brings us to the juiciest chapter of the Quincy Jones and Tupac drama, a possible gay love interest. Tupac had once thrown some serious shade, claiming Quincy was more interested in him than just making music. Tupac, bless his soul, spilled some piping hot tea about Quincy's alleged advances.
Quincy Jones wanted to, fuck him in the ass. He offered to fuck Tupac in the ass. Uncensored over here.
But here's the plot twist. The internet decided to play hide and seek with the audio. That clip was removed from all over the social media suddenly, so all the concrete evidence went to waste. Coincidence? I think not. Some troublemakers kept pushing aside Tupac's admission by labeling it as a mere rumor. But many of his supporters stepped up and claimed that Tupac had in fact talked in an interview about how Quincy came at him. One person commented, "Pac said that Quincy Jones came at him in an interview with his own mouth. The interview can't be found anywhere, of course, but I've watched it a few times. It was never a rumor." Another added, "There was a recording of Quincy telling Pac that they got to sleep together, and Pac said to him, 'I don't get down like that.' Anyone remember? I think Quincy was trying to get Pac into Illuminati She. But Quincy had more influence than that. So not only did everyone stop acknowledging that clip of Tupac, a very solid evidence against this notion was raised. Napoleon, Tupac's buddy, vehemently denied the rumors.
Quincy Jones, he came on to Tupac, he offered Tupac such and such.
Yeah, I think these definitely, them rumors about Quincy Jones and all that crazy stuff about Pac was definitely rumors. Pac was about to marry his daughter.
Coming from someone else, it would have been dismissed as irrelevant. But Tupac's best friend seemed to think Quincy would not come onto Tupac like that, so it seemed rather convincing. Then came another twist. Enter Reggie Wright Jr., the former death row bodyguard, whispering about Quincy's questionable intentions towards Tupac.
Well, that was the reason that Tupac met Kadada.
Right.
One of the daughters took offense to it.
But despite hundreds claiming they heard Tupac spill the tea, those close to him insisted it's all an illusion. Are we in the Matrix, or did someone just pull off the internet's grand disappearing act? And Quincy? Oh, he's playing the victim card, denying it all and calling it the biggest age of haters. The people who say I wanted to have S with him, man, this is the biggest age of haters I have ever seen in my life. I've been called a blonde lover, a pedophile, gay, everything. I don't care, man. Imagine my daughter being engaged to Tupac and me trying to make love to him. And I'm not into no men, man. I'm a hardcore lesbian. Are you kidding? All my life. Classic move. But seriously, Quincy, we're not buying it. The internet may have conveniently misplaced interviews and audio clips, but the gossip mill never takes a day off, especially after you have admitted that you weren't on good terms with Tupac and might have had a fight with him before his death. Like an idiot, I went over to him, put 2 arms on his shoulders and said, "Pac, we gotta sit down and talk, man. If he had had a gun, I would have been done," said Quincy, recalling a bitter incident between him and Tupac. So, did Quincy's advances meet a cold rejection, leading to Tupac's tragic end? Very likely. And here's where it gets darker. Tupac wasn't the only one Quincy had an eye on. Jamie Foxx was also another victim, hence all that anger and sudden urge to expose Quincy. Jamie suggests that Oprah, the iconic queen of talk shows, might have had a hand in setting him up to be taken advantage of by Quincy Jones. But wait, the Oprah we know is an icon, right? Well, there's a side of Oprah that's not so well known. Jamie's recent revelations sent social media into a frenzy, questioning if Oprah was involved in pimping him out to Quincy. Yes, you heard it correctly. Pimping in the name of Hollywood. Let's rewind to 2005 when Jamie Foxx was riding high on the success of his portrayal of Ray Charles, snagging an Oscar and a Grammy. Oprah, being the benevolent fairy godmother of Hollywood, decided to intervene. But surprise, it wasn't your typical pep talk. Oprah wanted Jamie to understand the significance of his success.
Then I get a call from somebody. "Hi, Jamie Foxx. This is Oprah." I'm like, "Who?"
Yeah.
I'm like, what? What? Who's that?
She said, "You're blowing it. I want to take you somewhere so you can understand the significance of what you're doing." So she whisked him away to the home of none other than Quincy Jones. And he had very peculiar advice for Jamie. Quincy said, "You're doing good, man. We just don't want you to blow it, baby."
Man, shit, working with Ray Charles, man, you know, Frank Sinatra, baby. You know, when I worked with Usher. You know Usher, don't you, Jamie?
That statement alone gives away the ill intentions of Quincy towards Jamie. Jamie later told Oprah in an interview how his perspective about the industry changed drastically upon that meetup. "Once I met you and Quincy Jones at the party you threw for Sidney Poitier before the Oscars, I knew I was in a different ballgame." He claimed that Quincy wanted to strengthen his own community, which might probably have some relevance to those gay parties.
But with Quincy, he would break down how they all kicked it together. So
Community, you built community, yeah.
Now let's talk about Quincy Jones, the man, the myth, the legend, known for his musical genius and, let's say, a controversial personal life. Rumors have swirled for ages that Quincy was the gatekeeper of some peculiar rituals in Hollywood, the rituals being all the shady activities happening at Hollywood's infamous gay parties. Tupac and Will Smith are two names that have been linked to Quincy's alleged escapades.
Quincy was there. Quincy, I mean, Will, him and Will and Tevin Campbell and all of that, people that's not from the 90s, those allegations was out there about Quincy.
So not only was Tupac a bigger threat than was led on to Quincy, he held a lot of Quincy's secrets too. The kind of secrets no one should find out. All these factors give clear grounds for Quincy wanting to orchestrate the hit on Tupac. Now remember when all the fingers were pointing at Diddy? If Quincy was really behind the hit, he would have been well aware of the fact that it would be this easy for him to get away with doing something so heinous. All the evidence pointed away from him, especially when Tupac and Biggie Smalls' death got linked. It all began with a seismic shift back in 2006 when Biggie Smalls' mother, Voletta Wallace, unleashed a legal storm suing the LAPD for a staggering $500 million. The allegations? A widespread conspiracy to cover up her son's M. Then entered a brand new LAPD detective, Greg Kading, who was handed the reopened case on a silver platter. Little did he know the Pandora's box he opened would lead him down a rabbit hole of shocking revelations. Detective Kading boldly declared that the deaths of both Biggie and Tupac were intricately connected. From there, the spotlight shifted to none other than Sean Puff Daddy Combs, as he was the only common enemy. Kading, after 3 years of relentless investigation, dropped the bombshell, a claim that Puff Daddy had allegedly put a $1 million hit on Tupac Shakur and Suge Knight. According to Kading, Diddy, with purported gang ties in LA, supposedly hired Crips member Dwayne Keefe D. Davis to orchestrate the deadly hit. But who pulled the trigger on Tupac? Kading pointed fingers at Crips gang member Orlando Baby Lane Anderson. In a chilling account, Keefe D's nephew allegedly carried out the hit after a last-minute change of plans led them to the wrong side of Tupac's vehicle. Greg revealed that when Keefe D sits down and he's presented with these proffer sessions, he says it was Orlando, and he says it multiple times. I gave the gun to Orlando. This revelation added another layer to the story, as Baby Lane had reportedly engaged in a fistfight with Tupac just hours before the fatal shooting. Enter Faith Evans, then wife of Biggie Smalls. In a jaw-dropping turn, Keefe D claimed that Faith Evans was aware of Diddy's alleged plot to K Tupac. The aftermath of Tupac's M saw Keefe D reaching out to Diddy and Evans, laying the blame squarely at their feet. But what about Biggie? Detective Kading emphatically stated that Biggie had no part in Tupac's M, despite their well-documented rap beef. In his narrative, Big was blissfully unaware of Diddy's alleged machinations to eliminate both Tupac and Suge Knight. The story takes a dark turn with Suge Knight entering the narrative. Allegedly enraged by Tupac's M, Knight supposedly retaliated by hiring a Bloods gang member to assassinate the notorious Big. The hitman, identified as Wardell Poochie Faust, reportedly received $13,000 for his deadly deed. The LAPD's involvement in the saga took a curious twist. Despite an exhaustive investigation, the case was dropped, with Kading revealing that the LAPD managed to dispel the $500 million case brought forth by Voletta Wallace. However, Kading's journey took a controversial turn when he was removed from the task force in 2009 due to a separate internal affairs investigation. Though cleared of charges, some still view him as a rogue cop. But then things started to clear up. Greg himself talked in extreme detail how Diddy was not the culprit. I don't think Puffy was truly intentionally trying to get either Tupac or Suge killed. I don't like Puffy. I don't think he's a murderer. So after all this diversion, we were once again back to level zero. Then Jamie decided to no longer keep his lips sealed and let the world know who was the real mastermind. It all could be a part of a bigger plot, a possible plan to divert from the actual culprit. More so, the recent arrest of Keefe D, which has Hollywood's elite, including Quincy Jones, sweating bullets, is another leading clause in this matter. Rumor has it that this arrest could unravel a web of connections tied to Tupac's tumultuous life before his tragic demise. As Keefe D's arrest unfolds, the curtains might finally rise on the shadowy events surrounding Tupac's final moments. Quincy and Kadada may have some splaining to do, and fans are on the edge of their seats, awaiting the truth. That's it for today. See you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.